Hey, what's up, y'all? It's the Treadmill Wealth Coach, Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander here, about to get it on. It says we are live in effect. You know our housekeeping. We got to go and make sure we're on all the platforms streaming at the same time. If you're a business owner or you're an artist, come to us. We got you covered. So let me check out our other stuff here. It looks like interesting enough. Looked like it was going live, but okay, check that anyway. And interesting. Going live. Check that. Okay, so I think I just checked two. Okay. It looks like that might be quite feasible. Now, let me go on and check out. I'm looking at a computer, guys, so sorry if I'm seem like I'm distracted for a second. Okay, now I'm going to check our Facebooks and our YouTubes and all that other type of good stuff. Whoop, it looks like I'm live there. Oh, I gotta do my thing here. Okay, so I almost forgot. Yes. Something went wrong. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. All right, so that should be good. Interesting. Let me see something. I need to check it on this phone. Oh, I had losing y'all for a second. Let me see if I lose TikTok. I'm gonna check it this way. All right, all right, all right. It looks like that's in effect. Okay, and it's in effect there. Oh, it was shared there. Okay, so we're on all the tick. We're on. Okay, so we're rocking and rolling now. Let me snatch this really really quick. I'm gonna do something a little different. Let me put this. Make sure we're on the threads and all that other type of good stuff. So let me go in here. Take it from here. I really need to take the YouTube one, don't I? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Okay, so I'm gonna take the YouTube first. Okay. And make sure YouTube is in the house. And it appears to be that YouTube is in the house. What's up, YouTube? All right, so I'm gonna take it from here, share this here, grab it here. Maybe I should have done that. Next time I'll try that. Let me try it twice. Why I'm already doing it. That could be a new one, right? Um, I'm gonna try it twice. If you see it twice, that's why. I'm trying out some stuff here today. Okay, so I'm on the YouTubes. Looks like everything is up and running good on the YouTubes. Uh, Come on now, try and check this one out. YouTube, don't give me a problem. Okay, okay, okay. That's another thing on the other YouTube channel. Didn't want that. Okay, well, I assume everything's working good because it is showing up there. I'm trying to get to my. I don't know why I couldn't get there. Okay, maybe I'll check it there. Okay, so let me go to Threads. All right, looks like it's going. I'm gonna check one other thing because it looked a little strange. It looked not strange bad, but strange good. It looks like Instagram, IG might have stepped up their game. Might have stepped up their game a little bit. Okay, he's live. Okay, there. Let me just do a test. Nope. Okay, I don't know about that, but some people play games, so that might still be a game there. Okay, so I think I got everything good, and I want to see if TikTok is still in place to be. It looks like they are. Thank you, TikTok. Okay, you're good. Okay, so we're on all those things. I'm missing anything. I got IG's rock and rolling. I got Facebook's rock and rolling. I got TikTok. I got TikTok already start. I got Threads, WhatsApp, YouTube's. The YouTube's is rocking and rolling. And I guess we are good to go. And it looked like Instagram stepped up their game just a little bit. Okay, so here we go, guys. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this thing kicked off. Because entrepreneurs think different, pain is gain. That's part of our subject of today. So as you can see, wait, let me go ahead and, I got to do my special thing on TikTok. Maybe not. Maybe so. Yes, no, I'm going to do it this way. All right, TikTok, what's up in the house? What's up there? All right, so all y'all know is a real live treadmill and we're doing real live stuff. Okay, so here we got this. And we got that. What's up? What's up? We're going to push the start, get this thing kicked off, get myself a little bit of drink. We're getting better at this. Getting better at this. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, speed it up a little bit. Do some of the stretches. All right, all right, all right. Invite, invite, invite. What? Okay, let's see. Okay. All right, so everything is rocking and rolling. I do need to speed this thing up a little bit. This thing be getting on my nerves lately, so I'm gonna take these off for now. And I can see you. And hello, hello, hello. Hey guys, this is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander with another episode of The Treadmill Wealth Coach. And yes, our topic of today is entrepreneurs think differently. Pain is gain. Hey guys, if you know, we got to say thanks to Winners All Around Network. Go to the YouTube, check it out, Winners All Around. Um, this is the Treadmill Wealth Coach, Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander, coming to you with some tidbits, millionaire maker, all types of stuff we've done. And I appreciate those that work with me and supported me and all that type of good stuff. And so just having a lot of fun out here, learning and growing in America. And so we are on all platforms right now, thanks to Winners All Around. Our main channel being on the Tube, and it's like a television station. So you can go and watch Dads Deserve Justice on the Friday shows. You got Freestyle Friday on midnight on Thursdays. Tuesday takeovers, which was actually today, and I have to check. I didn't get a notification, so I need to check on that. I don't know. We got a new partner is working on some stuff with that. We got Glow shows coming. We got Chop It Up with Dr. Alexander and Ms. Rose coming. News, reports, interviews, all that type of good stuff is happening live and in effect. And so here we are tonight, guys, trying to get the groove on, been a little bit rough, going through a bunch of different stuff, working through some things, but that's what happens, and that sort of brought me to my topic today, which is entrepreneurs think different. Hey, if you follow me on the Facebook, go look at my post. It talks about a whole paragraph on entrepreneurs look different. AI helped me out with that a little bit, and some other photos and things for you to think about. But I was working on that topic earlier, going through some things, and there's some other things hit me even more today. Like the last 3 days, just had to remind myself of where I come from, remind myself an entrepreneur. And sometimes we get off focus. We don't mean to, but we get off focus. And I'm not saying I was really off focus, but sometimes I'm not too sure about some things. You got to have some faith. Um, you can't do it by yourself. You got to trust the people, even though sometimes people will let you down, or mistakes happen, or issues take place. But you got to understand that's always going to come. So, hey TikTok, let me see y'all name. My glasses on because I got a little right here. I'd like to welcome some of y'all. Can see all y'all. Can't see all the guests on the YouTube. Virginia, what's up? Tristan, what's up? Hey, 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 WLR in the house. Sam, hey, join. I see Noel. I see hey, Ely, what's going on, sir? It's been a minute. Nick, what's up? Nice. All right, Nick, what's up? Kareem, all y'all. Chris, what's going on? Just thank you guys for jumping on here, Miss Carr. All right, Miss Carr. I got Shirley. All right, Bree, what's going on with y'all? Hey, I thank you for joining me. Don't forget to go to the Tube, to Winners All Around, so you can get these things, these replays, and all that other type of stuff. Because some social medias don't do the replays. Instagram, you can't see our replays. But we want everybody to go to YouTube and see the replays, right? Get those numbers up there, videos up there. That's a whole different story I teach you about there. But I wanted to get into the topic. For those who do follow me, thank you. Appreciate you guys. No one ever does it alone. That's for absolute sure. But also, what's up, Paul? Picks. But also, guys, just wanted to talk a little bit about, so if you don't know me, and my name again is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander out of Washington, D.C. area. Mike started off in the music entertainment industry. Been blessed to have some hits and number one over there, producing, managing, working, magazine, all types of different stuff. And then moved into venture capitalist things. But my greatest accomplishment, you guys know me, my greatest accomplishment was becoming a stay-at-home dad and raising 3 boys. Went through a contentious divorce, and that's why Dads Deserve Justice came into the sphere, right? And so don't miss that show on Fridays, right, guys? And let's support and work with fathers. I had some more folks I met with today, talked with them, and back in July, I went through a freak accident, and God blessed me to still be here and do some stuff and still be pretty healthy and get my health and everything back on par. Taking some products to help me with that. And so if you want to lose the weight, I lost about 15 pounds. If you want to lose the weight, you want to keep your brain and things on focus and all that other type of stuff. Got some stuff to help with those things. So don't miss your blessings on that. You can see all that information on the tube. And I got a special, guys. You know what I always say? You want a $100 gift card, right? Well, get with us. We explain how that can happen. But I always say, guys, I got a little tidbit for you. If you're in Maryland, D.C. area, okay, or especially Maryland, or if you're in the New Jersey area, right, real special deal. All right, the government is helping folks with what's called um, something called community solar. Everybody can get this, guys. Everybody. Don't have to have a house, don't have to have panels in the roof, ain't got nothing to do with that. But what it does do, it give you money off of that electric bill that is going through the roof. And it's also for the next multiple years, right? It's free, it's all paid for. The government put it in place, right, guys? All you gotta do is register and you're off to the races and saving money in these rough times. So get with us. We got a tidbit for you. Our partner's rocking and rolling with that thing. And so I just wanted to give that little blessing out because I know at times it's tough, money is tight these days, and we got to help everybody that can be helped. So with that being said, I got into coaching, mentoring people, helping create millionaires, doing all types of different stuff, having fun. But I got on the treadmill because I needed to get on the treadmill and it allowed me to spend some time talking and helping and mentoring and sort of paying it forward and giving it back. So that's how I sort of ended up here. With that being said, our topic of entrepreneurs, right? Think different. I'm gonna tell you something, guys. A couple little stories. But stories sell, facts tell, stories sell, right? So I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I am giving you some information. And that is that I learned this a long time ago. You know, couple of different things. First of all, when you're children, when you're a child, you're programmed, right? When things begin to change. And by the time you're 6 years old, you got a pretty solid programming foundation of who you're going to become. Now, it can change, right? But here's the thing. If you want to change things financially and you want to learn how to win, and you get past the age of 6 and you weren't embedded with all these principles that you need, then at some point in time in your life, whether it's when you're a younger child, a teenager, whether you're an adult, you're going to have to make a decision. And that decision is that you're going to pay the price, that whatever it takes, you're going to work to change the way your mind works, change your mindset, think about things different. Okay? Matter of fact, I would love to read it to you, but I don't want to lose you guys. Um, Well, I'll just tell you, if you go to my Facebook, Malcolm D. Alexander, and pull up the post that has about entrepreneurs think different, right? It'll break down a few things where entrepreneurs think different, where it's opposite. It's almost opposite from the average person. Well, I'll give you an example. The average person doesn't want to step out there necessarily on faith with their own business 100% because they're scared. Okay? That's understandable. They're scared that they won't be able to survive, make ends meet, and all that type of stuff, being a straight entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, are scared that if they get a job, that they're putting their life in the hands of another human being that can wake up on the wrong side of the bed and end your money, end your career, right? So it is the exact opposite, Noah, in a thought process. There's also a book called The Millionaire Next Door. That book talks about the average millionaire, like drives a Ford car. The average millionaire, right, never bought over a $200 watch. The average millionaire never bought over a $200 suit. Like that stuff doesn't make sense to a lot of things when they picture the millionaire, when they picture the billionaire, right? I remember somebody training and talking about, well, when you become rich, you don't even got to use lotion. You don't got to use an iron because you don't care anymore what people think. So you go out there and you do your thing and look like Elon Musk or something, right? Or you wear what a lot of billionaires wear. They wear a t-shirt, right? Guys, maybe if we adopted some of those principles before we got there, ooh, maybe you'd get there. Wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, so anyway, guys, that's one of the things that you should think about as you're going up through the ranks, right? You're going to have to pay the price. And so as an adult, or whenever you make a decision, you're going to have to make a decision to change some things, do some things, pay the price. Nobody gets to the top without the pain. Nobody gets to the greatness in anything without going through some stuff. I don't care if it's business. I don't care if it's helping the church. I don't care if it's your relationship. If you want to be able to maximize and get to the top and to win and have above and beyond, as I call my company, right? If you want that in life, if you want that in your relationship, if you want that in your church, if you want that in your job, whatever, there's going to be a price to pay. And that price is going to come, you've heard it before, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. Now, I could disagree with some elements of things, but I'm going to leave it at that for tonight because you're going to go through some pain. You're going to go through some ups and downs. And the things that you go through is where people don't want to go through it. People, another lesson, people want to try to be comfortable and they become complacent being comfortable, right? And what I've heard and I've learned and I've trained and I put in place is that if I get too comfortable, that's what makes me nervous because that means I am not living up to my potential. If everything is perfect, I had that situation just happen to me over the last few hours, right? Everything is not perfect, but everything on the surface of some things looked wonderful and great. But then there was a test. See, if you can't get through the test with communication, if you can't get through the test and get on the other side, right, then it wasn't right, it wasn't good anyway. Because you can't get to the other side of success and winning without pain, without going through some stuff. And so the stuff comes in the test, right? Anybody can survive and go through things when there's no test, right? And then on top of that, no one ever makes it alone, which means you can't do it by yourself. You're going to go through some stuff with other people. You're going to get tested with other people. They're going to get tested, right? And if you are committed, this is what I made up. If you're committed to the commitment, see, that bothers me sometimes in certain things in life. Are people that I'm working with, dealing with, in business, whatever, are they committed to the commitment? Because we're going to have a disagreement. We're going to have a misunderstanding. We're going to have some pain. We're going to have some stuff. And if people aren't committed to the commitment, if you don't have something that's going to get you through the rough times, you don't have the love, you don't have the money, you don't have the why, why gotta make you cry? Like there's got to be things to help you get. You need a dream board. You need to look at it, right? You gotta have things to get you through the rough times. If you think you're gonna go to the top in anything without it being rough, I heard a white guy talk about on I think it was on Facebook or Instagram, talking about Trump, and he was talking about. Well, I'm not gonna get on that because I don't want to get into politics. But he was just talking about. He used the word delusional. Okay. I'm not saying who was delusional, but he was talking about it. And he said certain people are delusional, right? If you don't believe what you see, if you don't believe what's going on, right? And so sometimes your perception is off. Sometimes what you think is off. That doesn't mean you're delusional. That just means you have to be smart enough to say, wait a minute, Maybe there's another side. Maybe I should think about it. Maybe I should get the other perspective. I can't stand sometimes when people think that their perspective is all that it is, right? And they're not even the ones that are having this perspective. It was somebody else, right? No, you can't be someone else. You don't think like someone else. You haven't gone through what somebody else goes through. That's why, in order to learn and deal with people in all types of walks of life, you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to take things in that don't make any sense. You have to be willing to adapt. You have to be able to have empathy. You have to be learn how to give people the benefit of the doubt sometimes. A lot of people jump to the negative. They jump to this couldn't be this. And they base it on their beliefs and what they've been through and their thought processes. But we can all grow. We can all get better. But you need to understand these things. And if you want to be at the top of things, I only use entrepreneur because you could be at the top of a job, but it's not your job. At the end of the day, you can't call all the shots and make all the decisions, right? I know that. Do you know that? So, guys, what I'm saying to you is there's lots of things that we need to do, right? And we need to learn to go through stuff. And we got to have some pain and some suffering and some consequences and some stuff in it. But if you learn how to become committed to the commitment, then all of a sudden you can see yourself working through stuff, right? You got to learn to work through stuff. And my suggestion is you work through it with people. It's really hard to work through something when it involves a group of people or involves another person or another entity or another business. I mean, think about it. There's a conflict between like two neighbors, right? I watched something, one of the judge shows, the conflict between two neighbors. And one neighbor was suing another neighbor because they thought that the other neighbor brought the property value down. Now the judge was like, wait a minute, that's your perception, but the only person who seems to have that perception is you, sir, right? The police didn't have that perception. The, what is it called? The organization that watches all the communities, make sure you cut your grass, all that. But they didn't have that perception. The woman who you brought to court didn't have that perception. Their friends didn't have that perception. The only person that had that perception was the guy. Now, that doesn't mean he didn't think that was the truth, that he didn't feel that 100%. But his perception, based on maybe how he grew up, what he thought, what he wanted things to be, his perception was probably off, which is why the judge didn't grant him his case, right? Then you have to think about that when you're dealing with people, y'all, because people don't see things. Have you ever played that game where you start off with, you give somebody a phrase and then they share with the next person, it goes all around the circle? Here's the interesting thing about that game. I would reckon to say about 99.9% of the time, very rarely does it ever, almost every single time, by the time the phrase goes around the circle of people and gets to the other end, it's never the same. It's always been changed. But here's the thing you got to understand about that game. Everybody who sat down at that game, and what did they say? We're going to do it. We're going to break the mold. We're going to be different. We're going to get it around. It's going to be the same. Never is. Why? Because we have different ideas, different upbringings, different thought processes, right? Different perceptions. So therefore, when someone says something to us, we hear it through the prism of our eyes and the prism of our thoughts and the prism of what we have come through, which means if you're an open-minded person, if you're a caring person, if you're somebody who's committed to the commitment, if you're somebody who wants to absolutely end up at the best scenario of the day, month, year, whatever, then you have to learn to be able to understand. Doesn't mean you got to agree, but you're going to have to learn to understand and give the benefit of the doubt sometimes to other people who don't think or see something the way that you do. And if you think that the way that you see it is the only way, it's always the right way, then you are delusional. Now, I've had a tendency in my life to be told, I think I know a whole lot of stuff. Well, God bless me to know a whole lot of stuff. But I'm not always right. I don't always know the answer. But one thing I have worked on for a long time in my life is that if I don't know the answer, if I'm not pretty sure, if I'm not confident in it, then I will not say anything. So therefore, it makes the appearance often that when I'm saying something, I am pretty much sure, right? I can still be wrong. I'm not perfect, right? But I am pretty sure that what I'm saying is documented, makes sense, has some validity to it, right? Otherwise, I don't say anything. So, like I said, it creates the perception that I think that, oh, right. No, when I'm wrong, I keep my mouth closed. I've gotten a lot better at not saying what I want to say and trying to suck it up in my own little compartment versus saying something that might lead somewhere else that doesn't need to lead or go somewhere it doesn't need to go. I had a big challenge with that today, right? And so I suck it up. I learn how to keep the big picture in mind, right? Keep the commitment to the commitment because sometimes we want to run, we want to shy away, we want to blame somebody else, right? We want to hide, we want to go through those things. That's our initial instinct often, right? If somebody's doing us wrong or somebody won't listen or somebody's being mean or nasty or somebody, is calling you out and they're wrong, right? Or they're off, right? Because you got to remember, guys, as you think about entrepreneurs get better at this, right? Because they generally deal with more and more and more people and different types of attitudes and different types of philosophies and all this other type of stuff, right? And so you want to get good at understanding their other perceptions and not making people feel bad or not making people feel like you're putting them down because um, you're blowing them off or you're not listening to them or that they think they think that their perception is all the way live, and because you don't come to their way of thinking, that you must be the problem. Well, entrepreneurs learn how to deal with that, and some of us get better than others, and some learn how to say, "Okay." And one thing that helped me, I'll give you a little tidbit since you're on here today, is a book called "How to Win Friends and Influence People" by Dale Carnegie. And long before that, I had this idea of being committed to the commitment, but it's sort of like being committed to the commitment. I keep the big picture in mind of things. And so when things hurt me and things are painful and things aren't going right and there are challenges and people make mistakes, my ex-wife used to get upset because she felt like people stabbed me in the back or stabbed us in the back, and I would forgive them, that I would be okay and still work with them. Well, you're right. I learned to do that. I mean, the Bible said you're supposed to forgive, right? No one said forget, but you're supposed to forgive. Well, if you truly forgive, then you can't keep holding somebody accountable for something. One thing I've learned, a lot of times, a lot of people will get the feeling of anger or mistrust, or as someone said to me, betrayal, right? They'll get the feeling, and they may not know the whole story. And so all of a sudden, right, you try to turn them around, you try to get them the whole story, you try to talk about it, you try to talk through it, you try to give your perception of what you were thinking and what was going on in your brain. They're not hearing it, they don't want to hear it, right? That means they're not being open, right? Or they can say they get it, they can say they understand, but their mannerisms, their attitudes, how they project themselves following it is still similar to when they didn't get it, right? That means they didn't take it to heart. They didn't take it from the heart to the head. They didn't give you the benefit of the doubt. They're still stuck in their own perception. And sometimes that's hard. And sometimes that's difficult. It's even more difficult when you gotta hear somebody doing that, yelling at you, screaming at you, throwing darts at you, going through stuff, businesses collapsing, whatever. And you gotta learn to say, okay, all right, not shoot back, not come back, and not stoop to their level. And it can be painful. It can hurt you. You can feel a certain way. But you're keeping the main thing the main. You're keeping the big picture in mind. You're learning to be committed to the commitment. A lot of times relationships, a lot of times business deals, a lot of times things end that didn't have to end, didn't have to stop. And sometimes it's because the people involved weren't really committed to the commitment. Or entrepreneurs especially have to learn that if you're dealing with someone who's not an entrepreneur, that happened to me recently. I had to really suck up some things and really think about some stuff. People don't know what they don't know. Now, are they open to learn? Are they open to grow? Hopefully. And if they are, you have to be open to be patient. You have to be open to understand that it's going to take time. They're not going to get where you are, right? And so all of those things play a part in life, in business, in connections, in relationships, in family. And we have to get better and do our part. And often you can learn from an entrepreneur. Why am I sticking to that? Because when you talk about the percentage of people in the world that are entrepreneurs, there's way more people with a job than there are people that's entrepreneurs. And then you have the entrepreneur that I call that entrepreneur that really has a job, right? Robert Kiyosaki talked about the quadrant, that if you are an entrepreneur with less than 500 employees, right, then you're really just a employee sticking out your chest with your business, right? Because you can't get the time and financial freedom. Very seldom can you, unless you have enough employees that you can shield yourself from all the stuff that happens in business, in life, and personalities, and the pain, right? And so you can do that when you have so many people between you and the problem. That's like why do people have secretaries? Or sometimes people call them gatekeepers, right? Why do they have that? Why? Because if you knew everything your boss knew, you probably wouldn't do your job. If you knew everything they're making off of you, you probably wouldn't show up to work. And I've been through some things of that in my life and in business and stuff like that. I've seen those tests. I wasn't even trying to test people that way. But I learned things. And remember, I was an entrepreneur. So I was learning these lessons as I went along. Entrepreneurs get lessons that the average person doesn't get, that the person with the job doesn't get. I remember I had somebody I was coaching. We got them to 6 figures or more, but it was rough. And they felt like because they had a government job and they were high up in the government and they managed all these people, that they were good with people. Nah, they had a long way to go. Why? Because the people they managed at the job, even if they didn't say it, they were dangling a paycheck. Those people weren't going to buck them but so much. That's why people will get along with their boss, right? Or they won't fight their boss, but they'll fight you, their man, right? They won't fight the person that controls certain things in their life that they need, right? But they'll fight the teacher, right? Those are why. Because they have leverage. And this woman had leverage when she was a boss, right? And so she thought that she was good. And everybody listened to her and did what she said and didn't buck with her and didn't fight with her because she was good. Now, it's because she had leverage, even if she didn't push the leverage. It was a job. Then she became an entrepreneur. And she had to work with a volunteer team, volunteer staff. They do what they choose to do. You're like 1099s working together, right? You don't boss them. And so she had this mannerism that people didn't like because She thought she was good, but she got tested. See, there goes the test part, right? You get tested when the challenge comes up. The test is, how do you deal with conflict? How do you get through stuff? And she had a hard time getting through it because as an entrepreneur versus another entrepreneur, she didn't have the same type of leverage that she had when she had the job. Guys, as you go through entrepreneurship, as you become an entrepreneur, if you become blessed to the point you're able to fire your boss and live off your entrepreneurship, you're going to learn a whole lot of lessons. You know, Robert Kiyosaki talked about that industry called network marketing, or MLM, that sometimes you might not make any money, but if you plug into it and you learn from it, it's who you can become in the process of that industry, which is amazing. It's not always about the money, guys. What can you learn along the journey? Success is not in the destination. It's in who you can become as you go through the journey. So for those of you that are fighting to go through it as an entrepreneur, I applaud you. I'm proud of you. Stick and stay till you get your pay. Keep on going. People want to throw darts. People are going to throw daggers. People are going to try to get between you and bring you back to their water cooler, bring them back to their mediocre, mundane life. But you got to keep fighting and you got to keep going until you cross over. And if you're someone who just has a job and hasn't quite made that decision or that leap yet to be an entrepreneur, then do the best you can at your job. Put some other things in place so you have some plan Bs. Now, I don't really believe in plan Bs. That's a whole different training. But if you have a job, you need to have some plan Bs because you're not in control. You think we are, but you're not. So have some side hustles, some plan Bs, right? Create some other income streams, right? And be open to pay attention and take some direction, some coaching, some mentoring, and then take some when they may have to critique you, right? But take it, learn, and you'll become better. Hey guys, I appreciate you jumping on. No pain, no gain. And entrepreneurs think a lot different because of what we have to go through. But yes, entrepreneurs, when you're dealing with people who aren't entrepreneurs, you have to have some compassion and some patience to get through those things too. That's why being committed to the commitment often is more important than the commitment itself. Hey guys, again, my name is Dr. Malcolm D. Alexander. I appreciate you jumping on. Don't forget our shows on Fridays, Dads Deserve Justice. Our shows midnight on Thursdays, Freestyle Fridays. Chop It Up, Winners All Around is coming soon. Tuesday takeovers, all this other type of good stuff. Hey guys, and much, much, much more to come. A new show is coming out for business owners. A new one's coming out for insurance. Guys, had some conversations, meetings today with people who are trying to do some things with the platform, so I'm excited about that. With that being said, guys, don't forget, if you're in Maryland or Jersey, especially Maryland, we want to get you those benefits and bonuses on your electric bill because in June, prices are going up even more. With that being said, DM us, email us, contact us, go to the tube and find us, go to winnersallaround.com and find us, and I'll see you on the beaches in the world in the high seas. Remember, it's your decisions that determine your lifestyle, but you got to work with other people. So be ready to adapt, change, and forgive. God bless, and I'll see you again next time. All right, TikTok, it's been a pleasure. Turn off here. Sounds like my son's. All right, guys. Until next time, I'll see you later.